Today we're talking about the classic Rolling Stones song Painted Black, which is apparently about the way Satan wants your fingernails to look if you're the Wiccan that works at my local Starbucks. Anyways, it sounds like this. So I'm doing it on acoustic guitar. It's generally kind of like on an electric. I think it's a really great lesson in pedal tones. I couldn't really find a good tab on this. This is just kind of how I hear it. But anyways, it's a great example of what a pedal tone is. Now what that is, on guitar specifically, is when we kind of keep coming back to a single note, the same note in a phrase. So basically all we're going to do is learn just kind of like a tiny little scale, and then we're going to slip a B note in between a bunch of these notes to create this really cool, wicked sounding riff. So let's just talk about the notes we're gonna play first. Just on the high E string, I'm just hitting open, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, open. So really it's just kind of like a little mini scale. We have an E, a whole step, 2 frets, 2, half step, and a whole step. Open, 2, 3, 5, okay? Super simple. And then backwards, open, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, open. Now in between each one of those notes, we're gonna have our pedal tone, all right? And this is gonna be an open B string. So instead of going open, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, open, we're gonna go open B, 2 E B, 3 E B, 5 E B, 3 E B. So you kind of get the idea. We're just kind of going back to that B note in between every single one of the riffs. Now here's where we get in a little bit of trouble. Sometimes I'll see people play it like this way. That's using the E as a pedal tone. I personally hear this as the B. Again, whatever, who really cares? But once we need to add this B note, or the 4th fret on the B string. So we have to add this D sharp note to the sequence, which we're gonna stick on this string and then grab the pedal tone on the same string. Okay, so what that means is I'm just gonna call out the notes that aren't the pedal tone that I'm hitting, okay? So every other note is gonna be just a B. E, F sharp, G, A, G, F sharp, E, D sharp, E, F sharp, E, D sharp. So when I get to that D sharp, we can't play a D sharp on the high E string because it's too low. So we're just grabbing this and then pedaling it right afterwards with the same string, okay? So I'll do it slow again. Okay, now at the end of the intro, there's like this little kind of run where it's like, okay, so really that's just kind of like a hammer-on slide thing. B string, 2, 4, 5, slide. Again, you might want to pick it like, it's kind of hard to keep on an acoustic guitar to really do that, but 2, 4, 5, 7, 5, 4, 2, 4. Okay, and then that leads into a really cool kind of dramatic upstroke pick slide thing, which let's talk about that too for a second. So this is really just E minor because the song starts in like an E minor. But to kind of get into that, what we're doing is we're just taking an E minor chord, all 6 strings, but instead of going down, we're coming up like that. And it may look like I'm dramatically doing that because I'm trying to build an effect and trying to look really, really cool. But there's actually another reason for that. The way that this kind of goes rhythmically, it's hard to do straight up in a line. It almost kind of like when you take your hand and you kind of go up across the strings like that, you kind of milk a little bit of extra time out instead of just going straight. So again, these are just kind of showman tricks that we're talking about here. But essentially, it's really just kind of like E minor after a pedal tone riff. And the cool thing about this song in particular and how it kind of uses that is it incorporates it into the actual rhythm of the song, kind of like that kind of back and forth type kind of sound between the actual rhythm section of the song does kind of incorporate some of the melody, the rhythmical aspect of the melody and that pedal point. So a lot of different songs use pedal tones, and really you can totally incorporate them in your playing. I think a lot of it is just kind of thinking of the scale that you're in and seeing a note that you want to emphasize in that scale. So let's just kind of like real quick do an example of something totally different. Let's do something in the key of E major. Let's do like a happier sounding one. So if we take this high E string and we just go through the intervals of the E major scale to go E, a whole step, half step. Already, we're kind of different because we've been doing this minor third interval so much. That whole step is really kind of changing the whole game, that major third in there. So open, 2, 4, 5, whole, half, whole, half. If you just remember that this is just the notes of E major, open, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12. We can still use that B note in there as our pedal tone because if you think of it, okay, what's the fifth of E? E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B. Those are two B notes, so we're kind of incorporating them. B is a fifth of E, so it's a really obvious choice because the 1 and the 5 are so closely related to maybe use as a pedal tone. So any kind of riff we want to do, open 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and stick that B in between is going to be cool. Right? I mean, I'm just randomly messing around, but if you actually take your time, you can maybe come up with like a cool sounding riff and then just stick that pedal tone in there to kind of give it a little bit of a glue. And depending on which note in a scale you pick to use as your pedal tone, you get really wildly different results in how something sounds. So I think pedal tones are a really important part of composition, something to think about, something you definitely want in your bag of guitar tricks. And I think Painted Black by the Rolling Stones is an excellent example of a great way to utilize them to create a certain type of tonal atmosphere. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.